Hello everyone, my name is Nature Angel and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you are returning. Today's video is going to be on loans and how you can get them forgiven as a school psychologist. So if you would like to learn more about that, then please keep watching. I thought this was important to make because when I started working in the school, I learned how you can get your loans forgiven in 10 years. So for us in the school, it's called PSLF, and that stands for Public Service Loan Forgiveness. Down below, I'm going to put the website that has all the stuff I'm talking about, and the website that I used was the student aid website. So some of the main things that I think are important to highlight that you need to make sure that you have is that you have to work full-time, work for the government, and have direct loans. So for example, that is not your private loans. You cannot have your private loans. With the PSLF, after 10 years, your loans are forgiven, but it's important to be aware of the rules and how you can get those loans forgiven. I know the wording on the site sometimes can be a lot, so that's why I kind of wanted to make this video to make it more concise and short and hopefully helpful. So one of the things that you want to make sure is that you have a qualifying employer. So you can look up on the website a link you can click and type in the employer, and it will say if they're qualified or not. Usually if you work in a public school, like a public school district, it's probably going to be a qualified employer. But let's say you work in a private school, then they probably aren't going to be a qualified employer. But of course there's exceptions to the rules, so you definitely want to make sure that whoever you're working for while you're paying the loans is a qualified employer. On the website, like I said, I have it down below. There's a hyperlink that you can click and it says employee search tool. Another thing you really want to do is make sure that your loans are eligible. If they aren't, you can consolidate them, but be very careful with this because I know some things have changed, but I know when I wanted to do that, or I was considering consolidating my loans, they had told me that if I did, and let's say I made like 2 years worth of payments on my loan before consolidating, but then I consolidated my loans, I'd basically start back as if I hadn't paid those 2 years. Now, like I said, I know that some things have changed, but overall, it's just better if you can get them consolidated, if that's what you want to do, before you start paying, just to make sure that all your payments are counting and that some don't count and others do. It'll just help to make sure that you're not in that mess trying to figure out, did it count or not if I paid before I consolidated my loan. Another important thing to think about is having a repayment plan that qualifies and a repayment plan that works best for you. So there's a bunch and I have them here. And depending on, how much you make, if you're married, if your accounts are joint, all that stuff could possibly play a role in which repayment plan you find to be the best for you. But you will probably want to get on one because usually they try to make you pay your loans off, let's say in 10 years. But if your loans are going to be forgiven in 10 years, then you want to extend it for 20 years, right? And you really want to pay the least amount. You don't want to pay the most that you possibly can because you want to get the most forgiven. So, for example, what I'm going to do, I'm on a repayment plan, but I'm going to try to get another one to make my payments even cheaper. I'm extending it to last 20 years, taking the plan that'll make me pay the least. So then I pay on that for 10 years and then I get the rest forgiven. And like I said, you're gonna have to look into it to see which repayment plan works best for you, but there are a lot of options. So keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind that usually when you're on the repayment plan, every year you have to redo it because, for example, let's say you're paying a certain amount based on your income. They want to make sure that you still qualify for that. And usually if you don't send in that information, then they're just going to make you pay the full amount that you would have paid if you weren't on that repayment plan. So just look into it. Be mindful that when the time is up in the year for you to go and redo what you need to do, that you do it so that you are not left paying a whole bunch of money. So after 10 years or 120 qualifying payments, you want to make sure they're qualifying, because if they are not, then that payment's not going to count. An example would be if you had a job and that employer qualified, but then you got another job for the next 5 years and paid, but they did not qualify. Then what you paid here in the unqualified employer is not going to count towards those 120 payments that you made. So just keep that in mind. Another thing you should do, you can submit your PSLF form yearly, and they will let you know how many more payments you need to make, how many you have already made. And it's good to do that every year, or if you change who you're working for, because that helps you to keep track. And also when it's time for you to send in all your information for all the payments that you made for the past 10 years, you don't have to go back and try to find old jobs that you may have been at or old supervisors and everything, because you already have that information and you can just send it in, and it's so much less stress. Plus problems can arise if you need to go back like 9 years and maybe that place doesn't even exist anymore. What if like that school district is gone or something, you know? So it's just better to just every year send in the form to make sure that they can tell you how many payments you have made and how many more you need to make, and then make sure you keep it for your records. I hope this video helps. I was really worried about having to pay all of the loans when I got out of grad school, and then when I found out, oh, like it counts because working in a school is local government, then I was really excited. And I know it can be really confusing, so you know, I've called and I've looked up the stuff myself, and this is how I found out all this information. So I hope that I was able to put this in a quick, easy to understand, concise video. And like I said, if you want to get started, I have that stuff that I used down below in the link. If you have any other questions that I can answer, I will gladly try my best or redirect you to somewhere where they can answer those questions. But I really truly hope that this helped. And if you like videos like this and want more of them, then let me know. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.